Hello, Just Too Good here. Today we're taking a look at LEGO Minifigures Series 23, which is the final series for 2022. They are breaking the end of the year coinciding with the series number, but this celebrates 90 years of LEGO. There's a little bit of a celebration background on that packaging. Let's take a look at each individual figure, where each pack retails for $5. I have to start with the wolf because this figure just eluded my grasp. I got a whole bunch of figures to finish off this series, and as you guys saw from the last opening, I thought I got this figure, and I totally did not. So I went back to Target to get this figure, and the final design, well, not terrible, I'm just not super into. We got two werewolves from LEGO Minifigures Series already. To get a full-on wolf design, while a person in a wolf costume is different from, say, a werewolf, it just feels more of the same, though. This design in particular, I kind of like the overalls, which gives it a bit of a toony wolf design. I also like how the legs have the ripped little pants right there with the gray boots. Though it is kind of weak that they didn't paint the tail, which they have painted the front of the tail before to match with the colors. So it just kind of looks weird that there's this weird gray strip right there, which is clearly the tail piece. It would have made this a distinguished tail piece, but whatever. I do like that they distinguished this sack piece by having exclusive printing to this figure. You can see at the front, they have just some kind of patches right there, just to give it a distinguished look. Beyond that, though, I also like the face, where you have one look where he's blowing, like the big bad wolf will blow your house down. And that kind of makes sense. Then his other look looks like he's about to eat some piggies. And since this is a rubber tail, I don't even have to take it off to show you the back of the torso. And you can see how that back torso is designed. And my favorite snack is probably popcorn, so I thought I would really like this figure, but the execution is just not there for me. The kernels on this popcorn design look a little bit too ovalish. It doesn't really look like popcorn at all. And just the overall design doesn't really give me the feeling of a popcorn bucket filled with popcorn. I guess the base torso piece gives me that feeling at least, which is kind of interesting, the shaping on that design. You can see printing at the front that says popcorn. As well at the back, there's that stripe design, but no popcorn design. This is actually a pretty interesting piece where it's a hard plastic. It just goes over the entire minifigure. And you can see how that is dual molded. This design has a chipper look at the back. That's pretty cool. And then at the front for the face design, there's a look of just a little sly smile. I also like how we get mid-legs unprinted in a dark red, which is just a nice inclusion with this figure. One of my favorites of this series is the Nutcracker. We have gotten a toy soldier as a CMF. It was actually a book promo, so I guess it's a little bit unconventional in that regard. This Nutcracker design, though, is so distinguished and tied to Christmas. I really like the design of this hair hat combo. It's a hard plastic, and you can see that it might not even be dual molded, but just painted black at the exterior. And this design is a very chunky piece that just has some great shaping at the back. The front design, you can see, has a pretty chipper face with some blush, but really, this is the look of a Nutcracker when you have the mouth closed. And then at the back, they have the look when you have the mouth open. That's pretty cool. The back of the torso doesn't have one of those Nutcracker switches, though. And you do get two copies of this exclusive printed 1x1 nut right there. One copy is considered an extra for the figure, but I really like that exclusive 1x1 print. That is quite useful. Another figure I really like is this elf girl. This design gives us a new hair hat combo for the elves, which is something that's long overdue, where we've been stuck with that one design, which this kind of imitates, where we have the hat and the ears. This is actually different from that existing design, though, because that's a hard plastic, and this entire piece is a rubber. I guess more of a hard rubber for this top hat design. It's quite interesting where the softer rubber is used for the actual hair. This design does have some really nice dual molded legs there with the short leg design. And yeah, it is a gender swap of this Series 11 figure, but I like the distinguishing features. At the accessory, this might even be my favorite part of the figure, where we have this adorable build of a snow globe. First off, I like that exclusive printed glass piece. You know, it's plastic, but imitating glass. Inside, there's that 1x1 print with a plate design of just the side of the house. That's impressive to print on such a small piece. The top roof has that 1x1 triangular piece. This came out just absolutely gorgeous. and it fits with that glass as well. Oh, and I forgot to say the elf does have an alternate face. And also, just if you want to see how this piece looks inside, yeah, it might just be one yellow piece that's painted over. But I think with the winter figures, those are my favorite of this series, because this just might flat out be my favorite figure of this series. This snowman design is very unique, where you have an entirely new headpiece right here. Very interesting headpiece that doubles as an unintentionally creepy Lego piece, where if you remove this unicorn horn carrot, it's a little freaky. Where you can see the eye through there. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll cover that up. Regardless, this design is very interesting as it actually fits a hat. Like, I wasn't expecting it to have a round enough top to fit a hat with that stud there. This being the existing top hat piece that's been used for so many years. And we have a scarf piece in dark red, which that connects to just the neck. It's an existing piece, but with that piece removed, you could see those buttons on the torso. And also the face print, which is just this guy sweating in this white outfit. It's quite hilarious. At the back, there's no printing whatsoever, and there doesn't need to be printing whatsoever. And for this Sugar Plum Fairy, this design, yeah, we got the Nutcracker tie-in. And overall, a bit too similar to that one fairy from series 17, the Butterfly Girl. Still, there's some great pieces here. First off, I love the exclusive the exclusive piece of this candy cane design, which has a pole base. That's incredibly useful and long overdue, and just a great piece to get in particular. This design for the printing and everything is actually pretty gorgeous, where we have this nice silver lining throughout, whether it be at the front torso, on the actual tutu piece with those little specks, or even at the back of the wings, which that's a lovely design. And this is a dual color design with a pink top, white bottom. Also getting this hair piece right here in this light yellowish color. I think only comes in this set in that color, so that's really cool. We do have a front face design, which has those sprinkles also present at the short legs at the bottom. And for an alternate face, you just have a little smile right there. And with the wings removed, there's some more back torso printing, and I also like getting that crown piece in white. Next, we have the Knight of the Yellow Castle, which I guess is trying to pay some tribute to the knights of that classic castle set. However, I don't see much of the resemblance. Is that symbol supposed to be an update? Regardless, there's some cool parts here. I do actually like getting a new symbol for these armor outfits. I really like getting this horse headpiece, which is just attached to a stick. That's kind of awesome. This has a pole connection at the bottom, and I'd love to see this with some different designs. The actual design on the torso is hidden by the armor, but with the armor piece removed, that isn't bad for a torso print. Also notice the mid legs in gray, which is really nice. You get that sword piece in a pearl gold, which is also a nice inclusion. And at the back, you got some more printing on the torso. This design has this piece in a pearl gold, which is really nice to get. Underneath, you could see that face print where one look, she looks kind of determined, and then the other look, she looks more relieved. So yeah, overall, a pretty detailed knight. Not really my taste in terms of a tribute to a castle set, but hey, at least it has some form of tribute. Oh, and I forgot to mention, they also include an accessory of a shield with that design. So it's cool that you actually get 3 accessories. There's the Reindeer Costume girl. This design is a pretty interesting outfit. I mean, we do have reindeers in the world of Lego. I like the hooves at the bottom for the printing, the bell on the torso. This new mask piece is kind of interesting, where it has an accessory hole at the top, and that antler is actually just an accessory connection. You get an extra one as a spare with this figure. It does look a little bit weird when you don't have that on. It looks almost like a Scooby-Doo suit or something, like a bootleg one you'd find in Times Square. Regardless, I really like the face print underneath, where we have a little bit of a gap in the teeth. Little changes in gaps in teeth and eyebrows and stuff like that really distinguishes generic face looks from LEGO minifigures, and I love seeing stuff like that. And you got a more chipper look at the back. Also some back torso printing. And her accessory is this present right here, which has An exclusive printed 2x2 tile covering, which inside there's exclusive 1x1 tiles of some gingerbread cookies. Now you do get an extra copy included with this figure, so it's cool that with each figure you get 2 copies of the cookies. And we have a turkey minifigure tying into Thanksgiving, well, at least American Thanksgiving. Isn't Canadian Thanksgiving in October too? So, okay, there's another tie-in. This design is actually kind of hilarious. On one hand, I wish LEGO would put out a turkey piece, but on the other hand, we do have some cooked bird pieces, so it's okay. This design in particular has such an interesting tail piece. If you see, it even continues to the front with some of that ruffle right there, but this design just attaches to the hips, and it's so elaborate. It's a hard plastic, and yeah, it's just kind of hangs over the legs. Again, really weird how it has that front ruffleage. It's just something I didn't expect from the figure. With that part removed, you got plain legs with red legs at the bottom and brown at the top, so that's pretty darn cool. I also like the printing on the torso there, as well as getting the chicken wing pieces in that dark brown coloring, or sorry, reddish brown coloring. This design for the head, I believe, is just the existing chicken head piece for the mask, and that's just recolored with some different prints as well. And it makes for a pretty hilarious outfit, if you ask me. There's also a pumpkin piece included, which is a little bit of a shout out, you could say, to Halloween, but then again, pumpkin pie and everything is associated with Thanksgiving in America. The face print has a happy look on one side, and then on the other side, he looks pretty darn angry. That is not a happy turkey. This series has a recolor of Series 18's Red Dragon. Now it's a Green Dragon. Woohoo. I like dragons, but this recolor seems a little bit unnecessary, especially with video giving us so many dragon minifigures last year. Regardless, I guess it's nice to get these pieces in dark green, especially the tail if you missed out on that lizard guy from Series 5. Note how these pieces right here are existing pieces that just kind of attach to the headpiece of the dragon mask. It's really weird how that works. But the overall design has no accessory whatsoever, which is pretty lame if you ask me. Gargoyle wings in dark green again. One face, which is just a smile. And the other face, which is a bit of a roar. And no back torso printing whatsoever, which is actually kind of lame if you ask me. From the front, does this look like a Triceratops? Nah. Then we have a ship captain. This design is hilarious for attaching at the hips. Like a little tugboat design where they've done this with planes as well as race cars before. The actual ship captain himself is so similar to the one from Series 10. Notice how this boat piece works where, yes, it connects at the hips as previously mentioned, but there's also separate pieces, which they include 2 of in red, and those are just put into these holes in the middle. Also note how there's a stud at the back there. Very elaborate and well-designed piece, if you ask me. And again, just slides onto the legs right there. And then the actual torso on the ship captain and face design and the hat and everything, again, looks a lot like the one from Series 10. I kind of wish they did something different there. Regardless, I like the printing at the side of the figure and just the overall design with the hat, where that is just such a great hat piece. And this time it has a symbol at the top, unlike that Series 10 figure. And finally, we have the robot, which we've gotten so many robots from LEGO Minifigures Series before. It was one of the weakest gender swaps back in Series 11. This design is different as it's a robot costume. So you actually have a minifigure inside there, which I really like that face. It's just a hilarious face. The alternate face is kind of whatever. This whole armor piece is so elaborate in its printing. I love the overall cartoony look from the front. Though it is sad that there's no printing whatsoever at the back. Though I guess if you don't want to display the minifigure with printing, you could just put this as their front design and then put your own prints. There's side studs with a hole in them, which is kind of interesting. And then a stud at the top, which is not holed. And you can see how that just goes over the minifigure. Printing looks great on the torso. I really like the side arm printing with the on and off switch. That's really cool. The general color scheme doesn't really work for me though, with the light blue and the orange. Kind of wish they went with a gray. I know that would be similar to those other robots as well, but it just doesn't seem like a color you would associate with a robot, the blue, and it doesn't really work for that regard. Oh, and there's also a 2x2 print of this little computer screen as an accessory. It's so weird because the design for this series is another orange one with celebration backgrounds, which that's like Series 18, which celebrated 40 years of the LEGO minifigure. Regardless, not too much to show with this bag. And there's not too much interesting with the checklist. Remember when they used to have teasers in these? They did it for like 2 series, but dang, that was awesome. So overall, what do we have here with Series 23? Well, no LEGO Minifigures Series, I think, is terrible. LEGO Minifigures Series are more interesting than so many things in LEGO for me personally. I love minifigures. I love very detailed minifigures. So yes, this is better than a lot of the sets that LEGO puts out just right off the bat, just for what it is. However, compared to other LEGO Minifigures series, this is far from my favorite. It just doesn't feel too distinguishable for what it is. I think they're trying to celebrate 90 years of the anniversary of the LEGO group, where we have, the little celebration design on the background. But there's not really much of a tribute to the history of LEGO, unless you count that one yellow castle figure, which I don't really get much of the resemblance there. The actual figure selection has a strange leaning towards holidays. So we have like Thanksgiving as well as a lot of Christmas associated figures. And I think that might be the most distinguishing part of this series. I really like, say, the Nutcracker, and even the gender swap of the elf is surprisingly one of the best figures of this series. However, in terms of gender swaps and slight variations of existing figures, there are a lot of redundant ideas, whether it be another wolf, whether it be another robot, and these are far from the best designs for either of those. The dragon just seems like a cheap recolor. Even the ship captain, which has a hilarious hip piece, feels like a slightly updated version of that Series 10 figure. Some similarity between the Sugar Plum Fairy and that butterfly girl from Series 17. But that's not to say there aren't some great original ideas. I really like seeing the most detailed LEGO Snowman, where we always get them in advent calendars as the same unprinted white minifigure head design. Getting the detail with this honestly slightly creepy new headpiece, which when it's all put in the way that it's meant to be, it doesn't look creepy whatsoever, as well as just how that kind of hides a regular minifigure headpiece. I really like how it came out. I also like, surprisingly, like the turkey. The turkey is a really cool figure, even though we don't have live turkey pieces. The cooked turkey piece existing is just enough, and that tail piece is so hilariously elaborate. Overall, I'd rate this series a 7 out of 10. It's not even the worst series. It's just, I don't know. LEGO really needs to pace these series out a little bit more, which they were doing one generic series a year, but now it seems like we not only got 2 this year, but it seems like the next series will be Series 24. So we'll get another generic series right after this. And when you have all those unthemed series, when there's been 23 previous series, there's a lot of overlap that's starting to happen, which makes it hard to distinguish which series is which. So that's my 2 cents. But is this a bad series whatsoever? Heck no. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Subscribe for more LEGO news and commentary. Let me know which is your favorite from this series of the minifigures. My top 3 are, funny enough, all Christmas figures with the Snowman, the Elf, and the Nutcracker. Subscribe for more LEGO reviews and commentary, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.